Right now, across the water in West Seattle, somebody is paying over $1 million for a house with a Puget Sound view and a ferry nearby. And about 3 miles away, almost straight across the water, there's a little waterfront town most people have never heard of, where you can get the same saltwater, a front row view of that same skyline, and a faster boat to downtown Seattle for a fraction of the price. That town is Manchester, Washington. Stick with me because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it is, what it actually costs in 2026, and whether it's the move that finally gets you on the water without wrecking your budget. Here's what most people believe when they go shopping for a Puget Sound waterfront lifestyle. They type Seattle waterfront or Alki or Bainbridge Island into Zillow, and they see the prices and they quietly give up. They decide that to live on the water, looking at the city, you basically have to be rich. But the water doesn't stop at the Seattle shoreline. Directly across Puget Sound on the east edge of South Kitsap County sits Manchester. Same saltwater, a front row view of the Skyline, the ferries, and Blake Island, a state park in the backyard, and a walkable little village core, and a fast passenger ferry that puts you in downtown Seattle in about 26 minutes. The price per square foot, though, is from a completely different planet than the Seattle side. I'm James Bergstrom, broker and owner of Paramount Real Estate Group, based right here in South Kitsap. I work this market every week and I know the roads, the ferry logistics, the difference between true waterfront and water view pricing, the shoreline rules, the septic and water situations, and I'm going to give you the honest version of Manchester, not a highlight reel. And here's how this is going to go. I'm walking you through 6 things in specific order: the geography and the views, the village, the commute, including a ferry secret most people miss, Manchester State Park and the outdoor lair, the honest caveats, and finally, the part you actually came for, the real estate map, who Manchester is perfect for, and why the window on it is open right now. So if you want the on-the-water life, but the Seattle prices keep slamming the door, stay with me now. Let's start with the thing you can't fake and can't build, the location. Manchester is an unincorporated community on the far eastern edge of South Kitsap County, sitting right on Puget Sound where Rich Passage opens into the main body of the sound. It's a small place, about 5,000 people across 6 square miles, and critically, it faces east and northeast. Out your front window, you've got Blake Island, Bainbridge to the north, and on a clear day, the Seattle Skyline and Mount Rainier across the water. Because Manchester faces east and northeast, you get morning light on the water, sunrise behind the city, ferries crossing all day, and the skyline lit up at night. The shoreline is a mix of pebble beaches, bulkheaded waterfront lots, and bluff homes set up high for the long view. You're buying a front row seat to the busiest, prettiest stretch of Puget Sound. It's the same water the Seattle side charges a premium just to look at. And here's the bigger picture. The Pacific Northwest market prices the address before it prices the actual asset. Seattle waterfront is in large part an address tax. Manchester gives you the geography without that address tax, but geography this good doesn't stay a secret forever. Here's the thing that surprises people because almost nowhere else on the rural Kitsap side gives you this. Manchester has a real walkable village core right on the water. It wasn't stamped out by a developer. It has roots going back to the Mosquito Fleet steamship days. Today, that core sits right on the waterfront. The public dock and pier, a boat launch, Pomeroy Park, the Manchester Library branch, and a handful of local spots, a market, a pub, a place or two to eat, all within walking distance of the water. What that means, especially coming from a city, is that you walk to a coffee, a bike, the library, and the water, which is rare out here. The dock is the community's living room. People fish and crab off it, launch kayaks, and just watch the ferries and the skyline. You get to live water adjacent and walkable, and you almost never get both at this price. Now, real talk. It's a village, not a downtown. Your big box groceries and wider services are about 10 to 15 minutes away in Port Orchard. If walkable density is a hard requirement, this isn't it. But there's a whole wave of relocators who don't want density. They want community, walkability, and water. And Manchester already has that identity today. Real quick, if you're trying to figure out where on the Kitsap side you should land before you fall in love with that one town, do this. I put together a free Kitsap relocation guide that walks you through the regions, the ferry corridors, the real costs, and how to match a community to your lifestyle. It's in the link. It's the link in the description, so grab it now. It'll give you context for everything else. This is the part that flips Manchester from cute waterfront town to, wait, this could actually work for my life. Manchester sits just a few minutes from the Southworth ferry terminal, and Southworth gives you two ways across. One is the Washington State Ferry's car ferry, the Fauntleroy Run, which lands you in West Seattle with your vehicle. The other, and this is the secret, is Kitsap Transit's Southworth Fast Ferry. It's a passenger boat that runs to downtown Seattle's Pier 50 in about 26 minutes. Let's do the math, because the math is the point. You leave a waterfront home in Manchester, drive about 7 minutes to Southworth, park, get on the fast ferry, and 26 minutes later, you're in downtown Seattle. Door to downtown that can beat a lot of commutes that start inside Seattle. So if you're hybrid 2 or 3 days a week, this is almost designed for you. One note, current fares run only a couple of dollars from Southworth into the city, with a higher fare on the return. It runs primarily on a commuter schedule during the week, though we do get fantastic Saturday sailings through the summer. And the honest part, ferry life is scheduled life. There's missed boat math, there are holding lanes on the car ferry, and weather can cancel sailings. It's a fantastic system, but it's a system you have to plan around. The biggest objection to across the water living is, isn't it a hassle to get to the city? Well, Manchester's answer is about 26 minutes. It's the boat. Now, the lifestyle layer. Your anchor amenity is a state park that used to be a military installation. Manchester State Park sits on Rich Passage. It was the Middle Point military reservation built in the early 1900s to defend the Bremerton Naval Shipyard, working with Fort Ward across on Bainbridge by running a controlled minefield through Rich Passage. The brick torpedo warehouse from 1901 is still standing, and today it's a day-use picnic shelter. The old gun battery and mining casemate are still there too. So day to day, that means your backyard is a saltwater beach with a 120-year-old brick torpedo warehouse you can have a picnic in. You can scuba dive right off the shore, kayak Rich Passage, walk the trails, or beachcomb at low tide. Add Yukon Harbor beaches and the nearby parks, and the outdoor life is just baked in. Buyers want a lifestyle they can touch every day and not a someday amenity. Manchester already has it. Every place has trade-offs, and I'd rather you hear Manchester's from me now. Here are the 5. 1, a working Navy fuel depot and Federal Research Lab share the point. Mostly invisible day to day, but there's occasional fuel-related marine traffic and some restricted shoreline. 2, while the immediate village core has public sewer lines, the moment you move up into the bluffs or down the shoreline, a lot of properties rely on septic systems and community wells. That's a major due diligence item, and I cover the basics in my hidden costs and inspection videos. 3, 2-lane access, no freeway grid, beautiful but winding roads. And 4, thin inventory. True waterfront is scarce, so if you need to buy in 30 days, this market may not cooperate, and your patience is leverage. 5, waterfront ownership is its own world. Bulkheads, tidelands, shoreline permitting, erosion and sea level considerations. So if you need city sewer certainty everywhere, a 5-minute Costco run and no ferries in your life, Manchester will frustrate you, and that's okay. The buyers who regret a place like this bought emotionally and skipped the logistics. The buyer who loved it looked at every trade-off and decided it was worth it. My job is to give you both sides, not just to sell you on a zip code. This is the whole reason for the title. Manchester runs a wide range because you're buying position relative to the water. As of 2026, inland and lighter view homes sit roughly in the mid 500s to 700,000s. Water view homes step up into the 700s to $1 million. True waterfront is its own tier. It's $1 million to $2 million, up for the premium estates. For reference, the county-wide waterfront median listing sits around the mid 600s. Let's look at the spread. For roughly what an entry West Seattle view condo or a non-water Seattle house costs, you can own actual Manchester waterfront or a big water view home with real land. Same sound, arguably a better skyline view because you're looking at the city instead of out of it. And that's the whole pitch in one sentence. Manchester is what Alki would cost if Alki had a Kitsap zip code instead of a Seattle one. And here's why now. As the fast ferry service matures and remote work sticks around, these across the water towns, they get discovered. You can already see it in the demand along the Kingston and Southworth corridors. The arbitrage that exists today. Seattle's view at Kitsap's price does not stay open forever. The people who bought waterfront on the Seattle side 20 years ago look like geniuses now. The people who get into a place like Manchester while a view and the price are still mismatched are going to tell a similar story. That's not a sales pitch, it's a market observation. So if you're seriously weighing a move to the Kitsap side, grab my free Kitsap relocation guide in the description below. And if you want to talk about Manchester specifically or where to find waterfront that fits your budget, reach out. My contact's down there too. No pressure, no pitch, just the information that helps you make the right call. Manchester is walkable. It's a waterfront village on the east edge of South Kitsap with a front row view of the Seattle Skyline and Blake Island, a 26-minute fast ferry to downtown, a state park with a torpedo warehouse, backstory in the backyard, and a real town core, all at South Kitsap prices instead of Seattle prices. If you came in thinking, I want the waterfront life, but the Seattle side is impossible, Manchester just answered your question. So here's your free chocolate on this way out. The smartest thing you can do before you buy anywhere over here is ride the Southworth Fast Ferry once, both directions on a weekday, then stand on the Manchester dock at sunrise and watch the skyline wake up, cross the water. The town it sells itself. You just have to go feel it. I make these honest, no hype breakdowns every week to help good people make a smart move to Kitsap's side. If this opened your eyes to a town you've never considered before, hit the subscribe and drop a comment telling me where you're moving from. And when you're ready to actually look, the free guide and my contact are in the description. No pressure, just the information. Anyways, have a wonderful day. See you on the next one.